This series of mini lessons is for those who want to build the basics of Arabic in as little time as possible. It'll be especially useful for those who want to study the Quran with this channel. If you haven't watched the previous videos in this mini grammar series, I recommend you to watch those first, because today's lesson is based on what we covered previously. Today's video is on the passive voice, which is used quite frequently in the Quran as well as in MSA. Passive voice is used when the doer of the action is unknown or less important. For example, we can say book was written when we don't know who wrote the book. Then let's move straight on to the conjugation in the perfect tense. You can change active verb into the passive just by changing the voweling pattern. For example, fa'ala becomes fu'ila. Fa'ala means he did, and fu'ila means he was done. For the passive, you put dhamma on the first letter and kasra on the middle radical. So remember that u-e vowel pattern when you pronounce fu'ila. Now let's see what that looks like in the full conjugation chart. This is the passive verb conjugation for form 1 verb in the perfect tense. Let's go over the chart one by one. Fu'ila is he was done. Fu'ila is two people were done. Fu'ilu is they were done. Next, fu'ilat is she was done. Fu'ilata is two women were done. Fu'ilna is they were done for a female group. Next, fu'ilta is you were done when addressing a male. Fu'iltuma is you both were done. Fu'iltum is you all were done. Next, fu'ilti is you were done for a female. Fu'iltunna is you all were done for a female group. Moving on to the last line, fu'iltu is I was done. Fu'ilna is we were done. As you can see, the only difference between active and passive is the voweling pattern, which is the u-e pattern, and the personal endings are exactly equal to the active verbs. Now let's move on to the imperfect tense. Just like the perfect tense, the only change is the internal vowel change. For example, yafalu becomes yufalu. You put dhamma on the first letter and the stem vowel is fatha. So remember the u-a vowel pattern when you say yufalu. Now let's go over the full conjugation chart. Yufalu is he is done. Yufalani is two men are done. Yufaluna is they are done. Moving on, tufalu is she is done. Tufalani is two women are done. Yufalna is they are done for a female group. Moving on, tufalu is you are done for addressing a male. Tufalani is you are done for addressing two people. Tufaluna is you all are done. Moving on, tufalina is you are done for addressing a female. Tufalna is you all are done for a female group. Now to the last line, ufalu is I am done, and nufalu is we are done. Note that these two are conjugated the same way, and these two are the same as well. And again, the only difference between active and passive in the imperfect tense is the voweling pattern, which is the u-a pattern. Now that we've finished the passive conjugation for form 1 verbs, let's move on to the passive conjugation of the other verb forms. Form 2 3ms active verb is fa'ala in the perfect tense. The passive is fu'ila. Again, the only thing that changes is the vowel, and notice the u-e vowel pattern. In the imperfect tense, the active verb is yufa'ilu. In the passive, it becomes yufa'alu. Notice the u-a vowel pattern. Moving on to Form 3. Form 3 3ms active verb is fa'ala in the perfect tense. The passive is fu'ila. Notice again the u-e vowel pattern, and note that the alif of Form 3 changes to well in the passive. In the imperfect tense, the active verb is yufa'ilu. In the passive, it becomes yufa'alu, which has u-a vowel pattern. Moving on to Form 4. Form 4 active verb is af'ala in the perfect tense. The passive is uf'ila. Again, we have the u-e vowel pattern. In the imperfect tense, the active verb is yuf'ilu. In the passive, it becomes yuf'alu with the u-a vowel pattern. Note that this form looks the same as the Form 1 passive imperfect, which is also yuf'alu. And as you can see, in Forms 2, 3, and 4, the only difference between the active and passive imperfect is the stem vowel, that is, the vowel on the second radical, so please keep that in mind. Moving on, what about Form 5, 6, 7, and 9? they are almost never used in the passive. To understand why, think about their derived meanings. Form 5 has reflexive meaning, which means doing something to yourself, so it already overlaps with the passive idea. The same goes for Form 6. And Form 7 is inherently passive or intransitive, and Form 9 is mainly used for colors and physical defects. So you almost never encounter these forms in the passive. Moving on to Form 8, Form 8 3ms active verb is ifta'ala in the perfect tense. The passive is uftuela. Notice again the u-e vowel pattern. The infix vowel also shifts from fatha to dhamma to match the u-e pattern. In the imperfect tense, the active verb is yafta'elu. In the passive, it becomes yufta'alu, which has u-a vowel pattern. Finally, moving on to Form 10, active verb is istaf'ala in the perfect tense. The passive is ustuf'ila. Notice again the u-e vowel pattern. The vowel on the te also shifts from fatha to dhamma to match the u-e pattern. In the imperfect tense, the active verb is yastaf'ilu. In the passive, it becomes yustaf'alu, which has u-a vowel pattern. Before we finish, let's examine how the subjunctive and jussive work in the passive voice. First, let's look at the subjunctive. We have the passive imperfect on the left and subjunctive on the right. Just like in the active voice, they are very similar to each other in the passive as well. For example, for these verbs, the only difference is the vowel at the end. The dhamma changes to fatha, so yufalu becomes yufala. For masculine plural verbs, you drop the nun and add a silent alif at the end. Then it becomes yufalu and tufalu. So you can see that the subjunctive in the passive works exactly the same as in the active voice. Now let's move on to the jussive. Jussive conjugations are also very similar to the imperfect. For these verbs, the last vowel changes from dhamma to sukun, and the rest of the jussive conjugations are the same as the subjunctive. Before we wrap up, let's quickly look at some examples from the Quran. First, I want you to pause the video and try to identify the verb form, voice, tense, and conjugation for each of these verbs on your own. Did you do it? Alright, let's go over them starting with the first one. Ulitu has u-e vowel pattern, so it's passive perfect verb, and the tu suffix indicates first person singular, so ulitu means I was born. The second verb is utia. The hamza prefix indicates form 4 verb, and u-e vowel pattern indicates passive perfect verb, so utia means he was given. Moving on, the next one is tunazzala. The shata on the second radical indicates form 2. U-a vowel pattern indicates passive imperfect, and the fatha at the end indicates subjunctive. And the tu prefix indicates either 2ms or 3fs, so the meaning is you are sent down or she or it is sent down. The last one is utu. This verb actually is the same verb as the second one, so it's form 4 passive perfect verb, and the u ending indicates 3mp, meaning they were given. But if it's a passive perfect verb, why don't we see the usual u-e vowel pattern? That's because the last radical ya is a weak letter, so it gets dropped. That's why this form is a bit irregular. It's a small exception. But as a rule of thumb, just remember u-e vowel pattern for the passive perfect and u-a vowel pattern for the passive imperfect. And that'll do it for today's lesson. Thank you very much for watching.